Hello everyone, welcome back to Timberborn. In the last episode we had a 28-day drought and we are just about to be entering a bad tide. We're going to go ahead and see how long this one is, but before we do that we have to go ahead and lower this floodgate and close this one. Then we can go ahead and watch the water flow out. And you can see that that is a 28-day bad tide, just as long as the last drought, but this time we will be getting some power generated with these water wheels. So the beavers of Waterfall Heights will not need these engines, and that will help them on trees, since you can see they are running a little bit low on wood right here. And also back in the lower plains we can go ahead and unpause this forester, and we can start pausing some of these water pumpers. We'll go ahead and finish putting in these last couple platforms, and then we can put in these last two large water tanks. And in the last episode we created a third district. We have a few things that they will be working on from the lower plains district, since they are close enough to construct most of this. If we add a path in, then they should be able to reach it all now. I'm trying to set up some storages underneath here. There will be some dynamite to allow the underground storages to be installed, and then get some basic well-being items set up for them. It seems like the beavers and the bots are working on this. Oh, I know exactly why. I just lowered the workplace priority and not the construction site priority. So now they should be focusing on other things other than just this. We also added in a massive amount of scrap metal collectors who are bots, since this is the bad water area. But as you can see, there's a lot of them sitting around. So we'll go ahead and pause about half of them, and we'll toss them into some of these other buildings. And one thing we can do is get some of these crops replaced with other crops, now that we have capacity to open up some more buildings for food processing. So we can go ahead and start getting a couple food factories up and running. This one we can set to corn, and then we'll set the other two to eggplants and algae rations. And we will want to get some more hydroponic gardens set up. I would like to take advantage of the stackability of these hydroponic gardens, so we can go ahead and get the infrastructure set up for those hydroponic gardens, and we can start constructing them. Although we will be assigning priority to some of them, or I guess D-priority on some of them, since we don't really need all these running at once right now, especially considering we are in a bad tide and water is not plentiful right now. We can also turn on these deep bad water pumps, since we actually have a bad tide going on. We're doing pretty good on explosives and have a decent amount of bad water. And we can go ahead and get some crops planted now that we removed some of the extra kohlrabi. And it looks like the beavers finished constructing all of this in the third district. And it looks like we have no metal blocks, although we do have a ton of scrap metal. We are frantically constructing metal blocks. We have 4 smelters over here, plus another one in the core of the district. I also see that we are running a little bit low on power. What we're going to go ahead and do is get rid of all of this, and then we'll get a couple engines set up right after we make sure they collect all these materials. And we can also go ahead and replace this explosives factory with another engine over here. In this district I am seeing a lot of vacant jobs. We currently have 28 vacant jobs. Looks like we have a bunch of hauling posts that are not filling up, and that's probably because we finished constructing those and we have not gotten rid of these ones yet. You can see there are a lot of beavers sitting around in these builders' huts. We did end up pausing all of these hydroponic gardens, but we can go ahead and unpause a few of them for now. We'll have 2 of them set to algae and 1 set to mushrooms. And then once we get some algae, we can start making algae rations, but we will need to make canola oil. Unfortunately, I don't think that this will actually get any power from these buildings. Although there might be a little trick that we can do. If we actually get rid of this and this platform. Oh, I was going to have some power shafts go underneath, but I realized that there is actually a door right under here, so we cannot use the power shafts below. But we can go ahead and get one set up right here. And it does look like the beavers are almost done pumping water out of this reservoir, so we will have a bunch of water pumpers who will need some jobs. And even right now, all of these builders are sitting around. They are constructing this, which got done pretty quick, but other than that, they don't really have a whole lot to work on. One thing we can look at doing is getting some bot factories set up in this district. They have a good amount of metal blocks and gears, plus planks, and wood is looking good as well. And since space is a little limited, I think what we should do is start building up. We can get some warehouses down here, which will act as a good foundation. Plus, we'll start getting some platforms placed in front of them. And I think that the best way to connect all of this will actually be to have a power shaft go around here and connect into these buildings. And we're actually going to remove this hauling post. Now, this is actually a guess. I am kind of rearranging this a little bit. But I think if we have the power shafts go over in this direction, we can have them connect from the bottom. Or at least I'm hoping so. If not, we'll have to start doing a little bit of rearranging. And it looks like the beavers did finish pumping all the water. So we'll go ahead and pause all these water pumps. Which makes me think all the beavers over here are done. Yep. And we are maxed out on bad water and extract. The beavers are continuing to work on the earth repopulator. Looks like it is 27% complete. We are still really low on scrap metal. Creative planks are not super high, and gears are also running low. Looks like we're still running a little bit low on power. Even with these 2 additional ones, we'll be just around 7,400 HP instead of 8,400. Oh, it looks like we have a bunch of trees, and we have some unemployed bots in this district. So getting both these additional lumberjack flags up and running will help get those trees chopped down. We're doing pretty good on wood, just over 850. We are going to be constructing some additional engines over here. We are also going to get a swimming pool set up here, plus a few additional showers. And it is not very clean over here. But I think the beavers should be fine since we won't be growing any food in this area. And they won't actually be getting in any bad water here. We'll have a water dump pouring some clean water in this area. And all of a sudden it looks like we have a bunch of unemployed beavers. Maybe we had that many before but I just missed it. Oh, how are we doing on power? Oh, we're doing pretty good. Oh yeah, this is running full time, so we don't have to worry about power. We do need to actually get the beavers to get up top. Looks like we can squeeze a staircase and platform over here, and then these will be connected. I think that it should have power. I guess we'll find out in just a minute. Awesome, look at that. Full power. Looks like the system is working just fine. We have a massive surplus of power with all of these water wheels running. Scrap metal is still doing fantastic. Once they get through this, we will need to look at constructing a mine over here. And we'll also need to get some beavers sent over here. And we'll need to have some breeding pods set up as well. We can go ahead and get some of the basics set up for them. Kohlrabi berries, planks, and wood. And these beavers are going to be completely dependent on their other district friends for now, since they can't really grow anything or pump anything. But we can at least have them help in some way. We'll have them produce metal, and they'll be using that to make some overhangs over this area. I'm going to try and build just an entire platform system over this whole thing, give them some more land that they can use. And then we'll have them produce the scrap metal down here. And it looks like they got the essentials constructed, so we can start unpausing these buildings and then also get some beavers sent over here. And unfortunately I forgot to build houses for these beavers. So let's go ahead and get some of those constructed. So we have a few things for them to construct. Looks like they are bringing the essentials over. They have some water. And then they also have some food, which is excellent. And thankfully the beavers of the Lower Plains district and the bots are helping to construct the houses over here since that is within range. So they'll get some assistance with that, but they'll have some of their own projects they can work on over here, including the beginning of the overhang system I was talking about. I think that we will need to construct this one so that they can walk over here to construct these platforms, and then they can construct these overhangs. I will need to make a set of stairs so they can walk on top of it, and then we'll need to make sure they can actually walk over there with the path. And the bots are working into the night. They're making good progress. Treated planks, they're about halfway done. Gears and metal blocks, they are not quite there. Although I guess there are fewer gears needed, so they are over halfway done with that. Still a huge demand for metal and gears. I'm hoping that the beavers of this district can help with the metal production. We will need to make sure they have access to scrap metal. One thing we can do to accelerate everything, since it looks like they are not currently working, is to get some more beavers into this hauling post. And we're really short on jobs now. We can look at pausing some of the unnecessary jobs. We don't need all these lumberjacks working now since the trees are all chopped down. Looks like we have a few jobs that we no longer need with the scrap metal collectors. Interesting, looks like we are actually running pretty low on extract. So we'll turn on this centrifuge, get a couple of the bots in there. We are completely maxed out on dirt. We can reduce the amount of bots in here. We'll just leave it at 1 for now. And we have our first bot in the Waterfall Heights district. We're going to immediately place the bot in the bot part factory so he can help expedite the production. And then once we make some more bots, we'll continue to fill in all these jobs. That should make the bot production go a lot faster. Oh, and we need to get some charging stations set up. Let's actually remove this one deep bad water pump, and then we can look at getting a connection over here. And then we can get some power shafts over from these buildings and get some chargers set up in this area. And we're going to go a little overboard. We're going to make a bunch of power stations, but we don't need to have all of them up and running immediately. And ideally I want to have them spread out like I have in the other district. I don't actually know if this is a vital connection. Looks like everything is running just fine still. Now the real question is, can we actually replace this right here with the charging station? Since we have all of these gravity batteries connected, if we get rid of it, we should be okay. You can see it's now starting to use this, but I think that if we put this in here, we should be okay. But we do have a second bot, so we'll get him in the bot part factory over here. Slow and steady we'll be replacing these beavers. And we are about to have a bunch of babies born in this third district, which means that we'll have some more workers in a few beaver years. Oh, we can finally get the swimming pool set up, and we'll also get those showers set up as well. We'll want to prioritize the fluid dump first. I am also in the process of, as you can see, I have blown out some of this area with dynamite. I will soon be replacing this path with an overhang like I have right here. This path is going to be replaced as well. I want to get some more area we can store water and continue to pump during the dry season. We can't actually lower this whole area by 1, which would be perfect for having these water pumpers access this water. Looks like we do have the swimming pool set up. It is a very tight swimming pool, but it's lacking on water, and I think we should go ahead and prioritize this by haulers for now, since we will also have these showers running, and I think having it set to iron bot makes sense, since during the evenings when the beavers are using this off work, we'll need someone to keep pumping water into this area. And it looks like we have a bunch of baby beavers running around. We have 16 occupied and free beds, 8 adult beavers and 8 babies. We are still running very low on metal blocks. It hasn't really gone up that much in here or over here, so I think we need to make some more smelters in this first district. And unfortunately this is only 3 deep, so we can't really fit smelters over here unless we get some more platforms set up. So now we should be able to fit a few more smelters. And we can also do what we did over in this area, and we'll have the power shafts run up from here. Then once they get these power shafts connected and they get the platforms and the smelter set up, we'll be running in full swing. And so we can have 5 additional smelters. We'll want to set them all to bots, and we'll want to make sure that we have sufficient scrap metal in this district. Looks like we're doing pretty good, running just slightly low. And we'll also want to look at getting this mine set up over here, but we will need to block it off like we did over in this area. And that will mean that we should probably widen down below here. That way we don't have bad water spilling up and over into it. And somehow we have beavers sitting around. I guess we're short on materials in this district. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot. And there isn't really much sitting in there. I guess it's the beavers on this side are just having to get the stuff transported over here. Unfortunately, they can't really make much of their own stuff. There is a complete shortage of gears, which is essential for both of these buildings and these smelters. We have a lot of gears in the other district though. Let's look at how we have the distribution set up. Looks like we have a lot of export thresholds set really high. We reset everything to default. We don't need to be importing everything always. I think having these and some of these other things set to 15% export thresholds will make a huge difference, since they have a bunch of extra resources in Waterfall Heights versus the lower plains is struggling a little bit. So we adjusted the distributions between all the cities just a little bit. Overall, we're doing pretty good on water. We have 7,000 with just under 5 days remaining. And we still have a bunch of baby beavers. Since they're all about the same age, it looks like they are just under or just over halfway to being fully grown adults. And we have some more babies that are going to be born probably around when they become adults. And we can continue to fill some of these jobs with bots. We have the production line fully set to bots right now. And now we have a couple smelters that are bots as well. Our power demand is increasing. We're up to 3,800 HP. We only have these 4 engines, and they can produce 1,600 HP. The gravity batteries will help during a drought, but if we run out of this power, then we're going to be running at less than 50% capacity. So I'm going to go ahead and get 3 engines placed up here, although I don't think that those will transmit power down to these buildings. So the best alternative I can come up with to get the power down will be to make an overhang here and then have some power shafts go down into this part of the building. But we're going to pause this until these are running, because if these do actually transmit power vertically, that would be awesome. So we'll get to see right here. And it looks like it might be connected to the power network. Look at that. It is connected. That is fantastic. We can go ahead and get rid of this since we will not need it, but we also don't need these engines running right now. Ooh, it looks like we have some engines in this district, but we don't have a hauling post. Let's go ahead and get one set up right here. We'll just have 1 beaver working in it for now. We'll get it 2. We'll have a couple beavers working in there, and then that beaver can help stock the engines, although we won't actually need them running right now. What we will need is some water pumpers. When the bad tide is over and water is eventually running through here and has filled everything up in this area, we could look at opening this up, but we would need to remove these. Although we could look at getting this set up. We could use a sluice, and since it's unidirectional, that means that we wouldn't have bad water going backwards. Looks like we have the first smelter created. We can go ahead and unpause this engine, and we are super low on wood, so we'll see how long this lasts. Oh, I see that we have some dynamite placed here. To be honest, I'm not sure how they actually placed it. I could see the beavers of Waterfall Heights swimming over here. It says we have some incapacitated beavers, but I don't think we have any contaminated beavers. And they finally finished making this cofferdam, so we can go ahead and try getting some sluices placed. So I guess we can't place them quite on the edge. We'll place them here. I'm assuming that it will look something like this and that we just stack them. And it looks like we have 2 smelters up and running now. We do have some baby beavers who have grown up, so we have 16 in total. We do have 3 unemployed beavers. Oh, I forgot to high prioritize this. Looks like all of these smelters have just been waiting to run, since this was behind the Earth Repopulator on the priority list, since this one was created before this one was. But we can get this up and running hopefully pretty quickly. And we only have 1 day left until the bad tide is over. We're going to go ahead and detonate all of this dynamite, but we do need to start pausing the seasonal jobs and get all these water pumpers ready for the bad tide to finish. And unfortunately that does include these smelters over here. And we can go ahead and do the same for this district. We do have some vacant jobs right now and a lot of vacant houses. I did pause some of the breeding pods, I think during the last episode, but I unpaused a few of them today. I think we'll go ahead and get another one unpaused, since we have so many beds that are empty and can hold more beavers. And the bad tide is finally over. The water is returning, and soon we'll be able to raise these floodgates and let the water flow back in below here. We'll go ahead and lower all these floodgates downstream to get the water coming back here as quick as possible. And we can also start detonating the dynamite over here and open this whole area up. And now we can go ahead and raise this. We'll have the water start flowing back into here. And as the water is filling this up, we should see these water pumpers start to get up and running again. We were down to 2.9 thousand water. Now we have more water pumpers, I believe, than we did at the beginning of the last wet season. So with all those increased pumpers, that should help us get more water by the time the next bad tide or drought rolls around. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's episode. We did a lot in today's video. We have this third district officially established. There are some beavers in here. Unfortunately, we have an injured beaver, but we'll get some beds set up in the next episode. They are starting to get the overhang assembly set up. They are making their own metal, and they have some of the basics. We do need to make sure that they can get some water and food at some point. Hopefully we can tackle that in the next episode. They have continued to make good progress on the Earth Repopulator. Looks like they are about halfway with constructing it and well over halfway in the materials acquired. And with the next episode being episode 20, I think that's going to be the last episode for this series for a while. I have a couple other series that I want to do. I have a good idea what I want to do for this next one. I'll go ahead and reveal what that is in the last episode of this series. So if you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and smash that like button. I really do appreciate it. And with that, we will see you in the final episode. Thanks for watching.